Hi there. So you've asked me some questions, and I'm going to try and answer the best I can. So the first one here is from pupil who says, I've passed my driving test 4 months ago. I haven't been driving for 3 weeks, and I'm really scared to drive again. Is this normal? Well, it can be normal. If you're not driving much after you pass your test and you're just driving a little bit and then you have a big gap, like 3 or 4 weeks because you've gone on holiday, you're going to feel a bit anxious and nervous about the stuff. The best thing you can do is get in the car, do a little bit of driving in the quiet time, just drive around the block where you live so you know the area, and that'll give you a bit more confidence that you've not forgotten things. And just at the end of that little drive, just have a think about how you're done, think about what was right, think about what you can improve on, and then take it from there. Have another drive next day. Ease yourself into it. Be easier. This is from someone called Rosie. At what age can you start to do driving lessons? Can you start at 16? If you want to drive driving lessons on a public road, 17 years old is what you want to start at. And if you're going to use your own car, you need someone in the side and the passenger who's already passed a driving test, who's been driving for 3 years and is over 21. And this one is, just passed with a full licence in my hands. I feel more anxious about driving on my own than passing the exam. Do you have any tips for new drivers? Well, after you pass your driving test, it is going to be a bit nervous because there's no one sat at the side of you. So the best thing you can do is, once you've got your car, have a play around with the controls, get used to the gas, get used to the biting point, get used to the controls of the indicator, get used to the gears, get used to the brakes, and just drive around the block where you live in the quiet time of the day, and just spend 10 minutes driving around, get used to the feel of it. And once you've got used to the idea of you're on your own, you'll eventually go further and further out. Okay, so don't rush out straight away. Don't get in that busy traffic. Just start off with some small journeys in the areas that you know, and then that'll get your confidence up. You'll get used to driving on your own at that point. Okay, next one here is, what's your opinion on buying a car before passing your driving test and insuring it provisionally to get more practice? And also, what would you recommend as a first car and why? A couple of things there. If you've got an opportunity to get yourself a car, then great, go for it, because the more practice you can get in between lessons, the quicker you're going to improve, the more confident you're going to get, the more you'll be ready for your test. What kind of car you want to get and why? I would go for a smaller engine car, like a 1 litre or a 1.2 litre engine, because it's going to be cheaper to insure. Because after you pass your test, it's going to be cheaper to insure after you pass the test at the same time. And the cars would be maybe a Corsa or a 4KA or a Yaris or even a Clio, something small, nothing too big, and it'd be cheaper to run. You'd be able to handle it better at the same time. And how would you cope with the driving test if you suffer from anxiety? Now, it can cause all sorts of things. I'll put a link below to a website that talks about anxiety. I can control it. So I'm not an expert on that, but the only tip I would give you, if you're getting nervous about the prospects of taking your driving test, then think about having some mock driving tests with your instructor to get used to the layout of the way the test works, and that'll get you used to the nerves of it. Another one here is, can I have all the questions in the theory test, please? I have heard that there's more than 1,000 questions. Now, I'm not sure how many questions there is at the moment, but about 4 or 5 years ago, they stopped publishing the questions. They had 500 at that point. The DVSA said they're not going to publish the answers and the questions. They're going to occasionally put extra questions in. So I don't think they've got 1,000, and no one knows exactly how many they've got, and no one knows all the questions, unfortunately. But if you do know how to drive, and you do understand the roads, and you do understand the road signs, then you'll be able to answer it quite clearly. Another one here, this is an interesting one. Is it true you can dry steer whilst performing the turn in the road manoeuvre? Now, you can dry steer on any manoeuvre, but you need to take things into account. What's going to happen? If you're stationary and you're turning the power steering, then you're putting pressure on the power steering, which will eventually make it burn out, possibly. And the other thing is, you're going to get bald patches on your tyre. So that's something to think about if you're using your own car. If you're on your driving test and you start to do dry steering, you will get marked down for it by the examiner for not controlling the car properly. So it's your choice. I mean, I say to people, if you move the car a little bit and turn, it's easier. If you dry steer, you're going to get a minor for not controlling the car. This one here from someone called Lottie. I've heard you can fail your driving test for being too hesitant. What would you be doing to get this fault? Now, hesitation is when you're not actually going when you can go. So an example would be if you're coming to the end of a road, you've got a junction and you want to go left or right, and you stop to give way to traffic, perfect. Get yourself ready, start checking for the gap. A gap comes along and you don't take it, hesitation straight away, because you've not gone and it's quite clear to go. And what causes hesitation is the thought of, I don't want to pull out and pull in front of the car and make them slow down. And you've got to just judge the speed of the traffic on what you're trying to get into the gap. Lots of people pick up hesitation faults for being overcautious, and then other people are less cautious and they pick up faults for pulling in front of people. So you just need to practice under pressure, and that'll help you. This one here is, what is the best time to take the driving test, morning or afternoon? Now, a lot would depend on the area, but the area where I live in Milton Keynes, I would say the morning's quieter than the afternoons. But saying that, if you're having driving lessons in the afternoon or in a busy time when it's rush hour, then it won't matter what time you're taking the driving test because you're used to the busy traffic. Okay? Someone saying, in your teaching experience, do you find that learning to drive is easier for some than others? It certainly is. Occasionally, I'll be teaching someone, and from day one, they'll pick it up pretty quickly, and it makes it a little bit easier for them. And then others, they'll pick it up like normal, where they're slow to start at the beginning, and they gradually get better at picking things up as they get further along the driving. And occasionally, you'll come across someone who will struggle from day one, and they'll struggle all the way along until they get to the point and they pass the test. If you are one of them people who struggle, don't give up, because it's okay to struggle as long as you're learning from the mistakes. Okay? And this one is it okay to use clutch control on your driving test if you can use it correctly? And it says here, and do it well enough so that you don't roll back on a hill. And is it okay to use, do they expect you to use the handbrake at all times? Now, there's two things there. If you can use the clutch, which hopefully you should be able to use it because you're taking your driving test at that point, if you can use the clutch and you're confident using the clutch, then use it when you need to use it. But if it's at a busy junction or on a hill, then use your handbrake so you can get your gas and biting point ready. So you save yourself a little bit of time to pull off. This one here, I've improved a lot with this, but still get nervous a little. What's your best tip for staying calm for a full lesson, even on busy roads? Now, everyone gets nervous at the beginning of the lessons because it's the thought of they're not sure what's going to happen. They're hoping they don't make too many mistakes. But if you're feeling like that towards the end also, then you really need to be saying to the instructor, I'm feeling nervous all the way through my lesson. Can we go somewhere quieter to just get better at what I need to be doing? So it could be the fact that you're emerging onto a busy road is making you feel nervous. So you want to practice emerge onto a quieter road, get the skill level a little bit higher. And this one here is, I've done 25 hours of driving lessons, and my instructor, when he comes back from holiday, is taking me to the test centre on my next lesson. That's okay if he wants to do that. Our instructor's allowed to do this. And how close do you think I'm from the driving test? Well, I'm not sure how close you are. Your instructor will, but if you ask him, they'll tell you. And they're allowed to take you into the driving test centre as long as you don't drive in, because they don't allow you to drive in apart from 5 minutes before the test. But you can certainly go in and have a walk around. And if he's expecting you to look at the test centre, he must be thinking about taking you for the driving test. So just ask him how long it's going to be for the driving test, and then you can plan it. What are your thoughts on getting finance versus buying a car outright? 5 things I could do to bring my insurance down. Now, everyone's different. If you've got the money and you want to buy a car, if it's your first car, by the way, I won't buy a brand new one because it's the high risk of bumping your car or scratching in the first couple of years is higher than afterwards, after a couple of years. So I won't go and buy a brand new car straight away, but buy a decent car. You know, if you've got £1,000 to spend, get yourself a car. Finance depends on how much money you can afford to put away each month to the finance company. Just have a look at all the interest you're going to pay. And 5 things I could do to bring my insurance down. Well, get a smaller engine for the car. So if you go for a 1.6 litre engine, it's going to be dearer to insure than a 1.1 or a 1.2 or even a 1 litre engine. And also consider just you as the named driver. If you're getting a driver and your partner on, it's going to be a bit more to insure. And also, if they're saying, well, we're going to insure you for 10,000 miles a year, and you're only doing 7,000 miles a year, then go back to the insurance company and say, well, I'm not actually doing all them miles, I'm only doing 7,000, so they'll reduce your premiums even more because you're on the road less. Hopefully that'll answer that one. And the last one is, I'm on my 24th hour and still feeling confident, and still feeling not confident in my ability, and still getting prompted a lot. And my instructor wants me to do a mock test. Should I go along with it or have a word with him? Right now, I am still being prompted. Now, you can certainly have a chat with your instructor and just say to him, well, if you're prompting me what to do and you want me to take a driving test and I'm not getting prompted, I'm going to make loads of mistakes. Just ask him that and just see what he says to you. If he's saying, no, I'm not actually prompting you, then just remind him that when you're approaching corners, he's telling you what to do. Okay, I hope them answers have helped you. If they have, give it the thumbs up, and I'll put my next video out in about a week from now. Take care, safe driving, and if you've got your driving test coming up, good luck with it. Bye.